You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cricket Podcast as we continue with our coverage of the 2025 IPL. I am Jack Hope. I am joined. Thank you, Max. I am joined by Max. How are you doing, Max?
Hello. Good. Yeah. Big news in my world. In painting the room that I previously podcasted from today. So hopefully at some point I will have got to the point where we've decorated a room that I can podcast in before the podcast dies. We all know the history of me podcasting in what looks like cracked ends and things. We're slowly getting towards having somewhere that's actually a room.
And that's all thanks to our Patreons who have been able to help Max.
Thank you for my duck egg paint.
We're going to be covering two games on today's podcast. The match from yesterday, Sunrisers Hyderabad v Mumbai Indians, and today's match, RCB v Punjab Kings. For people watching on YouTube, you will have noticed, if you are going to join us for the live stream, that we're starting just before Punjab knock off the last few runs. And we're going to be speed running this episode a little bit because of the rain delay. We've been squeezed on time. And,
but there's only two games to get through, so
we've got like 20 minutes. It's fine. Big game yesterday. A big game yesterday. We're going to start with that one. But before we do, if you're thinking, hey, I would like a little bit more cricket podcasts than just 20 minutes, then we have news for you. You should sign up to become a Patreon, patreon.com/thecricketpod, and you can listen to a whole extra hour of me, Max, and Dan recorded this morning talking about T20 leagues from across the globe. We ranked 13 leagues from worst to first. Max and I were in charge of vibes. We had a big disagreement about where the Big Bash sits in the list. I was disappointed with Max's ranking.
Yeah, but Dan, I think it was 2-1 really, wasn't it, on that front? So what can I say?
Well, I don't know. I think you're just wrong. And I'm right. Max is wrong. If you want to know where Max was wrong, sign up as a Patreon, patreon.com/thecricketpod. It's in the show notes. It's about £4, $4, something like that. Max, let's get straight in or move into the cricket. Sunrisers Hyderabad v Mumbai Indians. On Wednesday, we talked about this game, and we said this was probably one of those matches where only one team can move forward towards potential playoff cricket. The other team, they might have 7 dead rubbers ahead of them. What happened?
Well, we also thought that it might be a 270 aside kind of affair with these two, which maybe was a little optimistic given how hot and cold Sunrisers have been blowing, and they blew pretty cold on this particular occasion. Travis Head and Abhishek Sharma starting off the innings for Sunrisers. I don't know what they'd been taking. Some sort of luck pill, I think, because between them, they got through 9 lives at least. Travis Head caught off a no ball, drops, balls flying up into the air, balls missing the edge. Like, honestly, ridiculous how much they got away with. Didn't make much of a difference. Travis Head out for a less than a run of ball 28. Abhishek Sharma a little better for his 40, but they weren't the only ones that struggled. Ishan Kishan, Nitish Kumar Reddy couldn't get going. Heinrich Klaasen looked briefly dangerous until he got bummered. And they sort of limped along to 162 for 5 Sunrisers. A kind of a weird score, isn't it? For a side that basically is all about trying to score as many runs as possible and not really worrying about losing wickets. To end on a score of 162 for 5 is very un-Sunrisers-y, and it was all a bit strange. Notable achievement for Will Jacks of 2 wickets for 14 from his 3 overs. Good effort from him. In reply, Mumbai looked they got a head start. Let's say a good opening salvo from Rohit and Ryan Rickleton. Will Jacks with a steady innings, and everyone basically contributed a bit. Without failing, which was all you needed, chasing down 162 before Hardik smashed a few boundaries at the end to put some gloss on it. But it was despite regular wickets falling and Pat Cummins taking 3 in the middle overs, Mumbai never really looked like they were going to struggle with the chase, and they finished it off with 11 balls to spare, and they remain in the competition. But Sunrisers, Jack, do they remain in the competition? I suspect not.
Mathematically, yes. And look, we're one season away from the famous RCB run, aren't we? And if we're being honest, this team are probably better than that RCB team. So, whatever RCB's chances last year of qualification at the halfway stage, 2%, maybe add an extra 1% for Sunrisers.
An extra
maybe double it.
Is likely.
Give them 5%. It looks like a pretty long way back. They look like a team that were playing a little bit like they knew how out of it they were.
Yeah.
I'll just be honest. I can't see it turning around for them. I think the season has gone. I don't think that makes them a bad team. I think they're kind of a little bit of a victim of, underperformance and wrapped up in that underperformance, bad luck. But I think it is over. I said before the season I'd be surprised if they didn't make the playoffs. And it looks like I'm going to be surprised. I'm still a little bit surprised that this team have pancaked in the way that they have.
On paper, they're good. I still don't get it. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But I don't know, they've done a couple of weird things, haven't they? Sunrisers, like we were all quite. I was obviously overly excited about Adam Zampa at the start, but we all thought, I think fairly, that he would be easily in their best 11 and that he should play. And he's, he had a couple, was it 2 games at the start and a couple of wickets, but was a little expensive. And then they just decided that they didn't want that anymore. Now they're bringing in Eshan Malinga, which is, that's a bit of a punt, isn't it, at times, where that's maybe not really the issue. Raul Chahar got a run out for 1 over, impact subbing from Mohammad Shami. Like, that's the first we've seen of him, really. It's all been a bit strange, isn't it? What we thought in terms of how they'd set up and what we'd see from a bowling point of view, mainly, I guess, hasn't really transpired. And then, the batting obviously it's the main issue, isn't it?
Yeah, that's nail on the head right there. To be honest, like, we know that this Sunrisers team aren't the best bowling team in the competition, but the batting should more than make up for that. I feel Abhishek and Travis Head, probably the 2 best openers in the world. That's a great start. Ishan Kishan, an improvement on who they had last year. I will say Nitish Kumar Reddy's done himself no favours with how he's batted this year in terms of my perception of him, but he's not bad. Like, he's probably sort of, average-ish in that role. Then he's backed up by Heinrich Klaasen, who's great. Aniket Verma's,
he's been
come from nowhere a little bit. Has been really good. Like that top 6 should be cranking out runs for fun. And if you're being critical, you could say it does tail off, maybe a little bit from there. But it is a surprise that all 6 of them have failed together 4 times in 7 games. Like, really, none of them firing, actually. Like, or at best, one of them firing, and that's trouble. And I think if you look at Heinrich Klaasen's scores this year as well, they've been very middling and not particularly quick. And he's the talisman of this team, I would say. I know Pat Cummins is sort of the captain, and they'd like him to be the face, but I think people who know cricket know that Heinrich Klaasen is the man for Sunrisers Hyderabad, even probably above Head and Sharma in terms of what he can do that other players can't. And he's just not been at the races, so emblematic, I would say. Mumbai though, Max, we'd said that they were probably unlucky to be in the position they were in, 1 win and 4 losses. 1-2 on the bounce now. Put Sunrisers away with absolute ease. 4 wickets, a 4-wicket win. This goes down as, and that doesn't really tell you the story of how easy this was. Like they won this game by so much. It was cruel.
Yeah, no, they look a decent outfit. They're back in it now, aren't they? 6 points from 7 games, just the 2 points off the playoffs now. Although they've all of those teams sitting on 8 or 10 have played a game less, so it could stretch. But yeah, no, they're back in it, and I think probably more in the position that they deserve to be in from the way they played, and they mix things up a bit again. Because Will Jacks dropped down the order in the last game. He was back at 3 this time. It seemed to work. He got to go with the ball, but they've settled on something now, haven't they? That works, and obviously part of that would be the return of a man called Jasprit Bumrah, who is third game back and looked like it was the Jasprit Bumrah of old. He was bowling Yorkers for fun with a little bit of tail in as well. It was fairly fearsome. We can malign the Sunrisers batting fairly because it wasn't very good, but Bumrah was tough in those closing stages, and it's just massive for Mumbai having that back. It's such a key thing in T20.
It is. We wondered it, didn't we? Whether he was completely fully fit. I think he answered that question. Mumbai looked like a really tasty bowling lineup now as well, and they mixed in Will Jacks to good effect in this match, picking up 3 overs, 14 for 2 for 14. They're looking. I wouldn't want to play Mumbai right now. I would say, I think they're looking well balanced, probably pretty difficult to beat. Multiple options with the ball,
and difficult to beat in different conditions as well. Yeah, not just they're not a one-trick pony.
Yes, no, agreed. Should we move on to today's game as we're a little bit pressed for time?
Yes, let's do it. So we were also quite excited about this one and all the shenanigans that could happen, because it's RCB and it's Punjab, and anything could happen when those two are playing. Unfortunately, we were robbed of a good proportion of this game by the heavens, so it was shortened to 14 aside. We did at least get some cricket in. RCB didn't get a lot of batting in, unfortunately for them. They stumbled at best to 95, and that was in no small part thanks to Tim David, who notched up 50 off 26, more than half the runs for the side. Rajat Patidar got a quarter of them, and everyone else was shit, basically, is where it landed. And even then, Tim David's 50 off 26 was kind of indebted to 19 for him off the last 4 balls of the Harpreet Brar over to close things off. So yeah, I mean, they were lucky to get to a point where they did. It could have been over a lot sooner. We could have been podding a lot sooner had Tim David not got in the way, but he did get in the way, and Punjab almost got in their own way in chasing it, but Nelbradera at the end settled any nerves with 33 off 19 to make sure that there was no Comedy Kings action today after a little wobble in the middle, throwing away a few wickets. Hazelwood coming back and bowling nicely, but yeah, it was obviously a tricky one to deal with the bat today, but Punjab won through, and well, they're sitting pretty as well. 4 wins from their 6 games. Similar to what we said about Mumbai, where Mumbai had lost. They were 1-4, but their net run rate was close to 0. Punjab are 4-2 now, but their net run rate is just 0.17. Are they a bit lucky to be where they are?
I'm not sure. Probably a little bit. The batting performance in the last game should lose you 100% of games, and it didn't on that occasion. and their batting performance today wasn't.
And they tried to repeat it today.
Yeah, it was good enough in the circumstances, and it's a 14 over game, so everything is a little bit out of whack. 98 for 5 off 12 overs. It's quite hard to work out what that would have been over 20. So maybe we give them a pass on that. What I would say about them is that Chahal's rediscovery of himself makes me a lot more optimistic about the rest of their season, and they've had a good season so far. Like I think you could fairly level at Punjab that they were the worst bowling team in the tournament until 2 games ago. He's come back into the mix, and that sorts out quite a big problem for them, I think, through the middle overs, because there's not really. I mean, like Harpreet Brar ain't going to take you very many wickets in overs 7 to 15. Neither Arshdeep Singh isn't going to bowl there. He's your other wicket threat. Marco Jansen
probably also not going to bowl there, really.
Or Bartlett, like they're not. Yeah, well, but probably not. Like who sort of fits that role? If Chahal's in there, you've got a constant wicket threat, and that elevates this team up towards probably somewhere near the middle for bowling. And what you'll see from them quite a lot, and I think we've seen that over the last 2 games, is that they probably will oscillate, but quite wildly between good and bad. Marco Jansen is sort of maybe the flag bearer for that
hot and cold
in this lineup. Yeah, like he's a really great test bowler, I think, but he does miss his line and length sometimes, and that in T20 cricket that can be 2 sixes back to back, and that can be trouble. You do that, you bowl 4 stinking half trackers, you can go for 24 runs off those balls, and then it doesn't really matter what you do off the other 20. You're going to end up with terrible figures, and that will happen to Marco Jansen. Didn't today, didn't in the last match, and you see sort of he's got quite a high ceiling when he does bowl well. I think this pitch was tailor-made for a guy like him. It worked well for Arshdeep as well. And they got the benefit of. Yeah, you saw that kind of bowler. They did really they did really well out of a pitch that had obviously been covered for a while and was maybe a little bit sweaty. I'm pretty optimistic for Punjab. I get you.
I mean, Anurag rightly pointed out that they are now second with 5 off 7, because the table I was just looking at was had not been updated from their win.
Yeah.
So they're even better.
Plus 0.3.
Yeah, so it's a little
like I think if you look at
having them in second is still that's quite. I think the point stands. To be honest,
if we were looking at the table right now and we were just going to do a power ranking, we would have them in the top 4. I think. If we didn't, say we'd seen all the cricket, but not necessarily in the right order, so we didn't know who was going to win, I would say Punjab have played cricket that's good enough to be in the top 4, and that's what this tournament's all about. Are they better than what I've seen from Gujarat? Maybe not. Are they better than what I've seen from Delhi? Probably there or thereabouts. Same for RCB, probably the same for Mumbai.
Funny old year, isn't it? It's a really funny old year. It's good.
Yeah. Like they're all right. And from RCB's point of view, like it sucks to lose another game at home. But again, there are some mitigating circumstances there. You're playing a 14 over match. You have to bat first on a lively one.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
Things can go wrong quickly.
You don't want to be batting first in that scenario, do you? It's not the position you want to be in. I think it's always ends up being a bit of a lottery. I mean, T20 could be a lottery anyway, so you're shorting it to 14 overs. You've got to deal with the weather that's just come. You're batting first. You're at a disadvantage. You're at quite a heavy disadvantage, I think, in that situation, because you also know that you have to be fairly aggressive, right? You've got to try and put something on the board. It was fairly clear after a while that anytime someone tried to biff it, it didn't go very well, unless your name was Tim David. I think Punjab got away with it, really, because in their chase, there were a few instances where they'd seen the evidence of what was before them and how tricky it was, and did the same thing and ended up getting out. And it was like, well, why have you done this? You know exactly what's about to happen. And they were, luckily they were only chasing 95, so it wasn't too much of a big deal. But yeah, I think if I'm RCB, I'm just like, bad luck. It happens. Hopefully it won't come into it at the end of the season, and there's enough time left for them to make up for it.
I mean, like if you were before the game, if someone said to you, what's par in a 14 over match with IPL teams, you probably say 150.
Yeah.
Even at the Chinnaswamy being even with it's like being slightly livelier at the Chinnaswamy. So you have to try and get that. And you're batting in conditions where 150 probably is. When I say par, I think 150 is the score you need batting first to be favourite. Maybe that's a better way of putting it.
And if you're batting first, that's what you
actual-
need to aim for to start with.
Yeah, the actual expected outcome for a team batting first here is probably more like 120. So you're already up against it. Like you already need to somehow manufacture yourself 25 extra runs or 30 extra runs because you know the conditions right up at the top are going to be tricky. Lose a couple of wickets early, you can't stop trying to get those runs. Like you
No.
have to keep going, and so you're kind of damned
exactly.
immediately.
Yeah.
So it is a tough one for RCB to have to bowl first there, but it's cricket, isn't it? You know, that's what happens sometimes.
It sure is.
Matt, we've got 4 games this weekend. We've got 1 minute to cover all of them, or each of them. Oh, well, 30 seconds. Let's just get into it. Gujarat Titans v Delhi Capitals is tomorrow morning's game. Top of the table clash. Titans v Capitals.
Who'd have seen that?
Who's going to win?
Yeah, Gujarat for me. The competence and the home advantage. I back the Titans.
I think this is one of those games where Kuldeep Yadav is having an amazing year. I think this is one of those games where he's probably slightly less effective than he is or would be against other teams. Even though I expect the pitch to help him a little bit, I think the sheer batting class of the top 3 for Gujarat mean that he's not bowling to people who have only got, I'm going to try and slog you in the bag. They can probably play him around for 7 and over without taking major risk. And I think that takes the edge off what Delhi can do quite significantly. And I don't see Delhi having the... Well, look, they got Mitchell Stark. And if he bowls like he did in the last game, who knows what happens. But I don't see him blasting away the top order for Gujarat tomorrow. And that
Mukesh Kumar though
could be trouble. Look, now what's going to happen is that Mitchell Stark takes a hat trick and Kuldeep Yadav takes 7 wickets or something like that. So we'll see what happens. That's the IPL. That is the IPL. The afternoon game is Rajasthan v Lucknow Super Giants.
Indeed, yeah. It's a tricky one to call, isn't it? Because both very, very flawed teams, but they're flawed in kind of opposite ways. Rajasthan Royals' batting just falls off a cliff after a while, and Lucknow don't have any bowling. But there's rumours, Jack, that we could see Mayank Yadav. Now that would be fun, wouldn't it? If we see Mayank Yadav, then I'm going LSG. And in all other scenarios, I'm going to back Rajasthan.
I think Lucknow. There's word on the street is that Mayank Yadav is back.
Yes. I just said that.
That
but
makes me...
Maybe you didn't hear me.
Oh, sorry. I had internet problems. So I didn't, and I thought I was going to bring you a scoop. But yeah, like that, I think is the factor that tips it for Rajasthan. Do you know anything about Sanju Samson? Is he going to play?
No, I don't actually. That's a good point. I forgot about him. Yeah, LSG all the way.
There are rumours coming out just on the Rajasthan front that there is a rift in the Rajasthan dressing room between Rahul Dravid and Sanju Samson. They've been forced to deny it, so we'll watch that space as the tournament develops.
I think we haven't. It's TBD on Sanju Samson.
Okay, fair. On Sunday, it's Punjab Kings v RCB, the head-to-head.
Punjab again.
Yes, it's the same. It's the same match. I mean, that's a lot of air miles, isn't it, to get that fixture on? What's the outcome going to be when they return to Punjab?
Oh, it just doesn't make any sense, does it? The way these things are scheduled. Well, RCB lost today, so they'll win. They'll win on Sunday because these two are batshit. So that's what it'll be.
Yeah, I think that's a fair analysis. You don't want to think too deeply about Punjab Kings, otherwise you end up in some sort of vortex.
Second guessing.
And on Sunday afternoon, it's the fixture formerly known as El Clasico, but this year definitely not. Mumbai v Chennai Super Kings. We'll all be tuning in to watch Mumbai win, presumably.
I would have thought so. It's a very, very different scenario from the opening game for both of these sides, where CSK walked to a comfortable win at the Chapok, but Mumbai are they're back and they're firing. Boomer is around. CSK are in free fall. I can't see much else other than a Mumbai win for that one.
Yeah, agree. I can't. I'm trying to come up with a theory.
Yeah,
for
can't
Chennai
even see a
Super
way,
King.
can you, that CSK win
Yeah.
it the way they've been playing lately?
Here's a potential way. Devil Brevis, now a Chennai Super King.
Oh
Revenge
yes,
arc.
revenge
So,
arc.
yeah,
We're back.
That's the only. That's a
That's it.
path
That's
to
all we
victory.
got.
But
Yeah.
I don't know, Max. It's been a quick one. We're gonna have to wrap up because I've got to go and eat some Mexican food. I will remind people.
What a shame.
Yeah, I will remind people to click like and subscribe on whichever platform they're on. That really helps the podcast. And if you want to go a step further, there is bonus content available to Patreons, patreon.com/thecricketpod in the chat. See you later.